Om. 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 Shuklam Varadaram Vishnum Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadanam Dhyayet Sarva Vignopashantaye Saraswati Namastubhyam Bharate Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhir Me Sada Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gururdevo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Let us look into the summary of the second adhyaya, dvitiyodhyaya. In the second chapter, again we are having the three vallis. Three vallis means I can say three sections. In the first valli, in the first section, the first two mantras, parāñci khāni vyatṛṇatsvayaṁbhūstasmātparāṅpaśyati nāntarātman kaściddhīraḥ pratyagaatmanamaikshyad āvruttachakshuhu amṛtatvaṁ parācaḥ kāmānanuyanti bālāste mṛtyoryanti viditvā pāśam atha dhīrā amṛtatvaṁ viditvā dhruvamadhruveṣviha prārthayante. These two mantras discuss the important prerequisites for the student of Atma Jnana. The qualifications of Atma Jnana were highlighted. What are those? One is Indriya Nigraha, that is a Dhamma. Then another important discipline, Pratyahara. Indriya Nigraha, Dhamma, which also you can use the word according to the yoga point of view, Yoga Shastra point of view, Pratyahara. So here Lord Yama points out that it is not easy because the sense organs are naturally tuned outward, attached to the sense objects. It is not an acquired habit, but it is instinctive and inherent in a person. All the time our indriyas are turning towards the sense object. It is an instinctive nature. It is difficult to overcome, but still we need to work it on. It is difficult to overcome something which is instinctive because it is fighting against our own nature. It is an uphill task. It requires discrimination and willpower. Anything which is instinctive, to master over it, we need the two important points. One is the discrimination, viveka, and the second one is the willpower. Where only a few rare people gains the mastery over the sense organs. And this mastery is born out of understanding. Remember, this mastery is not suppression. Suppression is different from the mastery over it. When you are gaining the clarity, when you gain the maturity, when you understand the things, mastery is born out of understanding and not suppression. In suppression, the control is external, but in mastery, it is the internal wisdom that controls it. So much difference is there. In the external situation, the moment the external situation is changed, the mastery is gone, the suppression is gone, things comes out. So it should be mastery is born out of understanding. That is the most important for us. In the second mantra, Lord Yama describes the other prerequisite qualifications. What are those? Discrimination. He highlighted the second mantra. The discrimination. Without discrimination, the seeker will be lost in the ephemeral world of sense objects. If you don't have the discrimination, you will not have the dispassion. Dispassion takes place where there is a discrimination. Without a discrimination, dispassion is not possible. That person will be lost in the world of mortality, resulting in the birth and death cycle. Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam. It continues. So if you look at from the Lord Yama's point of view, this person will be under the control, under the grip of the Lord Yama. Understand and master your sense organs. One who is not gained mastery over the senses, one who is not using the discrimination, that person's life will be punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam. Lord Yama will play with that person, taking giving birth and death. Birth and death is continuous. Now look at the next topic here. Mantras from the 3rd to 13th. Acharya Lord Yama discusses the central theme of this section. The central theme of the section answering Nachiketa's question on Atma Vidya. Or you can say Atma Swarupam or Brahma Vidya. Or we can say the mantra 3 to 13 dealing with the Atma Swarupa Varnanam. Atma is the all-pervading and eternal consciousness. Because of consciousness, one is conscious of all the sense objects. What are all the sense objects? Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha. Because of the conscious, we are conscious about all our sense objects. Even though the consciousness is all pervading and one, even though consciousness is all pervading and one, the consciousness is only one, which is all pervading, it manifests in the medium of matter in different ways. So most important point, I repeat one more time, consciousness is all pervading and consciousness is only one. Even though it is the one, it manifests in the medium of matter in a different ways. Here let us take the support of the science. Light. Yesterday in the Bhagavad Gita class also I was discussing about this topic. If this is the right place to discuss now. The light. Now tell me, light is a wave or particle? So many scientists are working on this one. Since the 17th century, the research is going on. Now the final conclusion, I cannot use the word final conclusion. The last statement which we are having from the Einstein, this is light is having it is a wave as well as a particle. When it is a particle, when the light waves come into contact with a medium, it becomes a particle. When a light waves come into contact with a medium, it is called particles. Example is given. The light, when the light enters into the water, it will not go straight, it will bend. You can do the experiment. Take the bucket of water and take a flashlight and you can see that one. It bends. You can see it very clearly. It is a particle. So the wave which you see, which you cannot even perceive through your naked eyes. That's what science says. And quantum physics evolved a lot. There you cannot see. What you cannot see is called avyaktam. That avyaktam waves of the light are become a vyaktam when it came into contact with the medium. So when you say avyaktam, which is called paramatma, when you say vyaktam, which is called jivatma. But what is the fact? The fact is there is only atma. Science yet to come this statement. So thanks to the science, they came up to paramatma and jivatma. Science came up to the waves and particles. One is a wave, other one is a particle. We should appreciate. So if you ask the scientist, what about the light? Light is a waves or particles? He say waves as well as particles, both. We appreciate, we accept. A student of Vedanta, we appreciate and accept. Yes, it is a both. Same Paramatma we call Ishvara. When we call Ishvara, when you confine to a particular form with a particular name, with particular attributes, we say Ishvara. If you take out the name and form, what is there? Or Jiva, who is the Jiva? Confined to a particular form with a particular upadhi. Take out the upadhi, take out the name and form. What is there? It is the only one. Science has yet to come, or maybe it came already. I don't know. I don't know much about the science. But it is the one. There is only one consciousness, which is all-pervading. And this consciousness manifests in the medium of matter in a different ways. In a different ways, it manifests. Therefore, it appears as an individual consciousness. In each medium, it also appears to have varying quality because of the quality of the medium. If the same consciousness manifest in the body of a woman, manifesting qualities are different. The same consciousness, when it manifests in the medium of a male, the qualities are different. The same consciousness, when it manifests in an animal, qualities are different. The same consciousness, when it manifests in the trees, it is a different. Qualities are different. But consciousness is only one. Because of the medium, qualities are different. The same consciousness manifests at the three macro levels. Consciousness manifests at three macro levels. What are those macro levels? One is called Ishvara Chaitanyam, or you can say Antaryami Chaitanyam. Ishvara Chaitanyam. That means samashti karana prapancha. Samishti karana prapancha or samashti karana prapancha, the causal universe. And the second one is Hiranyagarbha Chaitanyam, that is samishti sukshma prapancha, that you can say the subtle universe, total mind. And the third one is Virat Chaitanyam or Vaishvanara Chaitanyam, samishti stula prapancha, the gross universe. And the same consciousness expresses at micro level also. What are the three stages in the micro level? Number one, Prajna Chaitanyam, Karana Shariram. Remember the Tattva Bodha notes. We have discussed the three Shariras of the Jiva. At Karana Sharira, it is called Prajna. Karana Shariram, the causal body. And at subtle body, what is the word is given? The Sukshma Shariram, the subtle body, Taijasa Chaitanyam, Taijasa. At the Stula Shariram, gross body, it is called Vishwa, Vishwa Chaitanyam. And these topics are beautifully presented in Mandukya Upanishad. In very briefly, we have studied in the Tattva Bodha. So now 3 plus 3, how many? 6. So these 6 are manifestations of consciousness. These 6 are manifestations of the consciousness. 3 at macro level, 3 at micro level. 3 plus 3, 6 are manifestations of consciousness in different matter media. When we remove the matter, consciousness is one. What is at the macro level is the same as what is at the micro level. The attributes micro and macro belong only to the matter. Whether you say micro or macro, this belongs to the matter only. Consciousness may be one, but there seems to be plurality in the case of matter. Lord Yama, Acharya, Lord Yama says that there is no plurality in matter also. In the matter also there is no plurality. There is no matter separate from the consciousness. This is the highlighted point from the Vedanta. Matter cannot be separate from the consciousness. A pot cannot be separate from the clay. A bangle cannot be separated from the gold. Therefore, matter is simply consciousness with names and forms. When you say particles, particles are nothing but name and form. But in reality, which is light only. So matter is simply consciousness with names and forms. Nama Rupatmakam Jagat. That is a statement we oftenly hear. Lord Yama establishes Advaitam in this section, mantras 3 to 13 of the first valli. And mantras 14 and 15 of the same first valli, Lord Yama describes the benefit of the vision of non-duality. The benefits, what are the benefits when you understand this one? So Lord Yama describes, one is Advaita Darshanam. What are the benefits? Advaita Darshanam means vision of non-duality. And the consequences of the vision of duality, if you take as a Dvaitam duality, what are the consequences are there? That was discussed in the 2 mantras. And the one who sees plurality will go from mortality to mortality. One who is not able to see Advaitam, the oneness, but seeing the duality, or you can say plurality, will go from mortality, mortality. The travel, the journey from the death to death. Whoever sees the Advaitam will attain the immortality. An example is given of rainwater that flows down the slope of a mountain. The water that separates into smaller streams gets dissipated and it disappears after getting absorbed by the earth. When there is a split into many streams, mortality occurs because water gets weaker and weaker, and multiplicity creates this destruction. When the water flows as a one, it merges with the ocean, the eternity or nityatvam. When a wave views itself as a wave, it will see itself as a mortal. But if the wave views itself as a water, it is immortal. If the wave looks at itself as a wave separate from the ocean, it says it is a mortal. But if the wave views itself as a water, it can understand it cannot separate from the ocean. It is immortal. So, sarvatra eva jala darshanam. Once when you understand, I am a water, I am no more wave. The wave is nothing but the water. The weight of the wave is the weight of the water. So, the vision is your choice. So, Upanishad says the vision is your choice and the benefit corresponds to the vision. Whatever is your vision, whatever is your understanding, consequences will be according to your vision, according to your understanding. If you take as a duality, the Dvaita, consequences is death to death. If you see the Advaita, the consequences is immortality. So finally, Upanishad says, this vision is your choice. It is making very clearly that Upanishad is not trying to impose anything on us. Upanishad is trying to make us to understand. Now, second Valli, Dvitiya Dhyaya, second Valli. This is second section, the second Valli of the second chapter devoted entirely to Atma Swarupa Varnanam. This is the only topic in this section. Atma is looked at from both. What is a both? Both means here the micro as well as macro. Atma is looked at from the micro angle, micro point of view. At the same time, Atma is looked at from the macro point of view also. The individual is called Jivatma, while the totality is Paramatma. In fact, there is only Atma. There is no adjective. So, mantra 1 to 7. Atma is described from the individual point of view. Lord Yama points out that Atma alone makes every organ alive by lending Chidabhasa. This we have discussed elaborately while studying the second Valli of the second Adhyaya. Chidabhasa, reflected consciousness. That time I used the word original consciousness, reflected consciousness, and different mediums, etc. we have described. Because today I am doing the summary, I am not going to every word, whatever we have discussed here. Okay. So, Lord Yama points out that Atma alone makes every organ alive by lending Chidabhasa. Or you can say reflected consciousness. By chance, if you are having your notes, you can refer reflected consciousness. This Chidabhasa, the reflected consciousness to the mind and then to the physical body. The Pancha Pranas are sentient because of Atma. Lord Yama points out that Atma lends a consciousness to the prana, which then lends it to the physical body. Superficially, the body seems to get sentiency from the pranas, but truly it receives sentiency from Atma indirectly. Without the consciousness, the pranas and the body will decay and decompose. So when you feel the body, it is the expression of Chaitanya. When tasting something, taste is possible because of life. The life is an expression of Atma. So mantra 8 to 15 talks about the Atma is described from the macro angle. Mantras 8 to 15, Atma is described from the macro angle. Atma Chaitanyam is not located in the body, but all the bodies are in Atma Chaitanyam. This can be explained by an example. This can be explained with an example. First stage, you see space is within the hall. I am giving an example of the space and hall. Let us take step number 1. You see space within the hall. There is a big hall. You see there is space. Wow, so much space is there in the hall. In the second step, you see that the space is not only within the hall, but also outside of the hall also. There is a space within the hall. There is a space outside of the hall also. Now look at the third step. What is the third step? We understand that all halls are in one all-pervading space. You cannot say that hall space or pot space or room space. All these spaces are in one all-pervading space. The entire universe is in consciousness. Atma is sarva adhisthana chaitanyam. Being sarva adhishthanam, Atma is all pervading. Sarva vyapaka chaitanyam. Two examples are given. Those two examples are Agni and Vayu, fire and air. Just as the fire and air principles that pervade the entire earth, Atma also pervades everything. Lord Yama also conveys another important point. When the fire is the red hot material, if you take an iron rod, put into the fire and you see it becomes so red. Fire is the red hot metal. It seems to have the shape of the metal. Fire seems to have the shape of the metal. The shapeless fire seems to have a shape in the shaped metal. If there are two shaped metals, it appears that there are two different fires and there is no fire in between. But the fact is, there is a fire between these two fires. How do you know? You go and stand in between the two hot metals. You will see how much heat it is. Huh? Have you experienced it any time? You go and stand next to the hot metal. This side is one hot metal, other side is another hot metal. You are standing in between. Can you say that only the heat is there, the fire is there, only this side and that side? In between, I am so happy. Fire is there in between also. Okay. The fire is formless, but seems to have a form in the media. In the medium, it is the same with the consciousness. That's what I give an example. The light, which is a wave, but when it comes into contact with the medium, it is a particle. So the fire in the Upanishads, example is taken, the fire is a formless, but seems to have a form in the media. It is the same with consciousness. Even though consciousness is all pervading, it is not affected by anything. The most important point. Consciousness is all pervading. It is not affected by anything. And to understand this, the scriptures provided the different nyayas. Padmapatramivambasa. Like a lotus leaf, even though it is there in the water, it is not touched by the water. If the sunlight falls on the dirty things as well as on the good things, but sunlight is not get affected. Air can carry the different smells, but air is not get affected. It is associated with everything, but not affected by anything. That is a beauty. That is the thing we need to cultivate in us. Associate with everything, but not get affected by anything. Asanga chaitanyam atma. Atma is likened to the sunlight. Atma is like we can take as a example like a sunlight which pervades every object, but it is not wet by the water. Sunlight is not burnt by the fire. Sunlight, will not sullied by the dirt or the smell. Consciousness is asanga and therefore not tainted. Since the consciousness is all pervading, it is one, ekaha, or you can say advitiyaha. Ekam eva advitiyam brahma. Ekam eva advitiyam brahma. The media has multiplicity. Philosophically, this is significant because the other philosophies such as Sankhya also is very close to the Advaita philosophy, believes in multiple Atmas. Yoga believes in multiple Atmas. One for each body, one Atma manifests as a plural and therefore it is called Jagat Karanam. The Lord Yama points out that Atma is eternal, Nitya, and product is Anitya, but the cause is Nityam. Clay existed before the pot, in the pot, and continues to exist after the pot is destroyed. Clay exists in all three periods of the time, past, present, and future. Before the pot, clay was there. During the pot, clay is there. When the pot is destroyed, clay will continue. It is there in all the three periods of the time. The pot is subject to birth and death. Atma being the Jagat Karanam, it is Nitya. It is one cause for all perishable effects. Then Acharya, Lord Yama, enters into the third valli of the Dvitiya Adhyaya. In the third valli of the Dvitiya Adhyaya, the first four mantras, the third valli of the Dvitiya Adhyaya, first four mantras, Lord Yama summarizes Atma Swarupam that he revealed in the previous valli, where he says, ūrdhvamūlo'vākśākha eṣo'śvatthaḥ sanātanaḥ tadeva śukraṁ tadbrahma tadevāmṛtamucyate tasmiṁllokāḥ śritāḥ sarve tadu nātyeti kaśchana etadvaitat. Lord Yama summarizes Atma Swarupam that he revealed in the second valli of the third Adhyaya. He highlights one feature in these four mantras. Atma is the intelligent as well as the material. Nimitta upadana karana. Atma is a cause of the universe. Atma is the intelligent as well as the material cause of the universe. Nimitta as well as upadana karanam. In Mundaka Upanishad, the example of the spider was given as both the intelligent and the material cause of the web. This Nimitta Upadana Karanam explained very beautifully in the Mundaka Upanishad with an example which is called spider and web. And mantra 5 to 13, Lord Yama gives various preparatory disciplines. It is very important because Atma is a very subtle subject. Grasping the teaching requires the preparation. He highlights it is a certain disciplines are very much required to assimilate the knowledge. To gain the knowledge also certain qualifications are required. And to assimilate the knowledge, we need to have the discipline. If the discipline is not there, assimilation will not be there. So what are those disciplines? Let us see. Number one, remembering the greatness of the human birth. Always remember what is the purpose of my life. What is the goal of my life? I am like one among the many people taking the birth and growing and producing the children and dying. Or is there any other goal in my life? What is the purpose of my life? Always we need to remember this. What is the purpose of my life? So remembering the greatness of this human birth, always remembering, constantly thinking about the purpose of my life That helps a lot. So in this birth alone, knowledge is possible. As a human being, knowledge is possible. So hence, never ever postpone. In another births, it is not possible. Only it is possible in the human being. So even if you get knowledge in the other lokas, it will not be clear. Only in Brahma Loka, it is possible. But the entry into Brahma Loka is very difficult. So hence, instead of putting the efforts to enter into the Brahma Loka, put the same efforts to gain the knowledge here. The second discipline, Atma Anatma Viveka, the discrimination of Atma Anatma Viveka. What is Atma? What is Anatma? What is Nitya? What is Anitya? Remember the Tattva Bodha we have prepared for this Atma Anatma Viveka. Nitya Vastu Ekam Satyam Tadanyat Sarvam Mitya Iti. So, Atma Anatma Viveka, seeing the real meaning of the word I as taught by the scriptures. When we are learning the scriptures, we have to be mindful of the word I. Don't take the I with your body, mind, sense complex. Even though this I is pervaded throughout your body, but we have to take here Atma is I as a Atma. When Upanishad teaches us Tvam asi, Tvam means you are that. Don't take the you as your body, mind, sense complex. Okay. If the Upanishad Rishi says that you are all pervading, if you have understood that you means Atma, the knowledge will be immediate. But if you take your body, mind, sense complex, you will ask the question, how can I pervaded everywhere? I am only sitting here. So if you take yourself to be the body, the Upanishad statement will not make sense to you. So Tvam Pada Lakshartha must be kept in the mind during the Vedanta Shravanam. This we have discussed elaborately. Lakshartha, Jagat Lakshana, Ajahat Lakshana, Jagada Ajahat Lakshana. So Lakshartha Jnanam is the second qualification required for listening to the Vedanta. That we are taking under Atma Anatma Viveka. Now the third one, Lord Yama introduced the Yoga Abhyasa, means the meditation for disciplining the mind. This is the capacity to withdraw the mind and focus on a field and retain it for a length of time. This absorption is called Nirvikalpaka Samadhi from the Yoga Shastra point of view. Lord Yama prescribes this Samadhi Abhyasa for disciplining the mind. So this is Upasana for a Vedanti. This is a meditation for the Vedanta. Now the fourth discipline, which is most important discipline, of course all of that also important, Shraddha. Let me not translate the word Shraddha into English because we have discussed elaborately what is the word Shraddha. So Guru Vedanta Vakyeshu Vishwasaha Shraddha. Brahma Asti iti Shraddha. With this Shraddha, listen to the teaching and in time it will be clear to you. Now coming to the conclusion of the mantras 14 to 18. Palashruti Jnana Palam is presented here. The Jnana Palam, the benefits of this knowledge is presented. What are the benefits of this Jnanam? What is the Palam? Number one, Sarva Granthi Nashaha, knot of ignorance or knots of ignorance are destroyed. We are in so many knots of avidya. Avidya adhyasa nashaha. Destruction of ignorance and the consequent misconceptions. Ignorance by itself is not a problem because we say ignorance is a bliss in English statement. Ignorance itself is not the problem for us. Then what is the problem? The problem is this ignorance lends to the errors which are the problem. Ignorance plus error, that is grantha. If simply you are ignore, wonderful. But that ignorance, the consequence is making you to the errors. That errors create the problems. Otherwise, ignorance is a bliss. Now, number 2, sarva kāmānanuyanti, destructions of all binding designs. If I say sarva kāmānanuyanti, the desire for the gaining the atma jnanam also is a desire. But we have to make it within the bracket, binding desires. Destruction of all binding desires. Desires are not the problem, but the binding desires are the problems. Number 3. Number 3. That is Brahma praptihi. Attainment of oneness, gaining the knowledge of the oneness. Here and now itself. Atra Brahma samashnute. Atra Brahma samashnute. Brahma praptihi. Where? Here itself. So here, Lord Yama also gives the palam for a Nachiketa ritual taught when fulfilling the second boon. Second boon, he explained the Nachiketagnihi, which is nothing but a Virat Upasana Sahita Nachiketa Karma. The benefit of this is Krama Mukti. If you take the Nachiketagnihi, that gives the Krama Mukti. Second boon, what Nachiketa asked, if you follow that, you will get the Krama Mukti. But if you follow the reply to the third boon, you will get the direct Mukti. So after presenting this, Lord Yama and Nachiketas, they are withdrawn from the Upanishad. Then Upanishad Rishi in the 18th mantra, he explains to us, saying that Nachiketas, having been so instructed by the Mrityu Devata in this knowledge and in the whole process of yoga, become free from all impurities and death and attained the Brahman, and so will attain any other too who knows thus the inner self. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.